Are you ready to make more money doing what you love this year? Well, the Dream Bigger Mastermind is for you. We're talking real results like going from $2,000 months to $8,000 months, landing promotions to C-suite roles, working with dream clients, and so much more. Doors are now officially open and spaces are limited. We're starting February 25th, so apply today, and let's make 2025 your most abundant and aligned year yet. Link in the show notes. Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to Breathe More. Today we have a different type of episode where a common theme that I think a lot of people are currently struggling with and is being activated given the climate that we're currently in is our money triggers. This is something that we address deeply in my Dream Bigger Mastermind, where we look at our money story. We look to see where we're projecting our own lived experiences onto possibilities that are either right in front of us or that we're calling in that are potentially then blocking that abundance that we deeply crave. I just had a call at the end of last week with a former client and also someone who's going to join this round of Dream Bigger Mastermind, where she's a soulful entrepreneur and she has all this guilt and all this hang up about charging more, about raising her prices, projecting her own current financial situation and circumstances onto her clients and feeling like, what are people going to say if I charge more? People work so hard for their money, like I can't take that away from them. Meanwhile, her clients are telling her that their budget is much bigger than what she's willing to take from them. And so even though they're willing to pay her more, she's then quoting them like half of the price. So she's leaving money at the table. So in her coaching session, we work through which part of her was doing that, was sabotaging, was pushing the abundance away, reframing. And then the deeper thing is a lot of this stems from ancestral inheritance, if you will, or lack of, the ancestral poverty that has followed through different generations, that now she is the one that is committed to ending that, to breaking it, and to stepping into a life and creating a life for herself and her family of wealth and abundance. So I thought it would be helpful to share with you the masterclass that I hosted last week, Break Through Your Money Blocks, because I go in depth about the framework that I use with my clients that I want you to use to overcome whatever block you're going through. Some of the steps in the process would be helpful if you have the support of someone to hold space and reflect back to you. But at least it will be a great starting point for you to identify, what the limiting beliefs are and like the deeper fear. What's at the surface level and then what's below that's continuing to create these blocks of abundance, of you living in scarcity and limiting how much you're receiving, and then going into a healing. Obviously, in this masterclass, I talk more about the Dream Bigger Mastermind. So if you're curious to learn more, I go more in depth of everything that's included. And I give a ton of examples of how this framework has helped my clients overcome their own money blocks. So I hope you find it inspiring. Take a listen. And we'll be back after the masterclass.
Welcome. For those of you just joining us, we are dropping in the chat what your money block is. What is your belief around money? Like the number one thing when you think of money, what comes to mind? Maybe it's something that you heard your parents say. Maybe it's something that you're hearing a lot in your community right now. Maybe it's your own belief. This is what we're talking about today in the masterclass. So I'm so grateful that you're here. We have a lot of information to go over, but please, I want to hear from you. If anything is resonating with you, if you can relate, if you want clarification, drop it in the chat. Today, we're going to be talking about why you feel stuck in your current financial goals or your financial situation, the number one mindset shift to break free from that money block. And then I'm going to teach you my 3-step framework so that we can start to change our money story. So if you're here, it's probably either because you're stuck in a toxic job, where you're feeling underpaid, underappreciated, undervalued. But even though things are not great at your job, you're afraid to look for a new one. Or maybe you're afraid to ask for the promotion. Some of you might be your own boss. So you might have your own business. You're a solo entrepreneur and you really love what you do, but maybe you're struggling right now attracting your dream clients or selling your services or even charging what you know you need to charge. But there's all this like fear and scarcity around that, feeling like, well, if I charge more, then I'm not going to have any clients. Perhaps you're someone who thinks, well, no matter how much money I have, Anna, like it just seems like there's never enough. I don't even know where all my money goes. Maybe you're also someone who has a lot of credit card debt and you're feeling ashamed by that. And maybe there's a part of you that's so overwhelmed and feels like you might never get out of debt. And then maybe you're someone like me who grew up in a household where there was constantly financial struggle and a lot of projection of scarcity. And no one ever taught you either how to manage money, anything about money, or even presented the possibility for you to have a different reality than what you were experiencing your caretakers or parents. And so what you might be looking for is like, all right, well, I do want to make more money, but I am so tired already. I'm so busy. I'm burnt out. I can't imagine working even more in order for me to make more money, right? So you are desiring more money, but with less effort, less work. And you want to feel confident and you want to feel in control of your finances and your financial goals. And deep down inside, you know that there must be more to life than just the grind, than just barely surviving. You're ready to live a life that feels abundant, but not only abundant, that's really true, authentic to you. And so if you don't know me, welcome. My name is Anna Lilia. I'm a breakthrough coach and multi-six-figure entrepreneur. So this is a picture of me and my parents. My parents are from Mexico. I am first generation. I'm the oldest of 4 girls. So there's a total of 6 of us in our family. And growing up, although there was a ton of love from my parents, there is a lot of challenges, especially financial challenges. So while I was seeing my cousins and my classmates going to ballet class and doing soccer and taking swimming lessons, every time I asked my parents if I could also do it, they told me, no, we don't have money for that. No tenemos dinero. Shut down, right? They would also tell me things like, that's not for us. So when I was young, I was made to believe that certain experiences, people who live in a certain area, who do certain things, is not for me. It's for other people. And then my mom, she's obsessed with telenovelas, Spanish, Mexican soap operas. And they really reinforce the belief of classism. And so she has this strong belief that she tells me all the time, where she, at her core believes that if you're someone who has a lot of money, you're a bad person. So imagine growing up in that environment, right? And then becoming an adult and while my parents were like, okay, we don't have money for most of the things you want to do, except for the bare minimum. And even then, when it came to like food, if I wanted to have more food, there was also food insecurity. I was told like, no, you can't have more because we have to save it for your dad when he comes back from work. So they were telling me, okay, get an education so that you don't have to work as hard as we are, and so you can make more money. But there is a limit to that, right? So what do? I'm like the black sheep of my family. And instead of getting a secure job that my mom wanted me to have, where she didn't even want me to go to college, she just wanted me to stay in Napa and go to the community college. And then she wanted me to become a secretary because she viewed that being in an office was how I was going to have financial security. But as I said, I'm a rebel. And I'm like, what does my heart want? What do I want to do? So I went to UC Berkeley, got a degree in mass communications and Spanish literature. And then, of course, I moved to LA to become an actor. My parents were like, what are you doing? But as you probably know, being an actor has a lot of ups and downs. So when I first moved at 23 to LA, I was struggling, barely making ends meet, had all these side hustle jobs while still auditioning. And I realized something, like I always made enough just to meet like my basic necessities. But whenever it came to having a bigger expense, like that's when things got scary. So I started to look at how I was living my life, my thoughts, and then remembering what I kept hearing from my parents. So during the time that I started to do self-development work, that's when I started to book more commercials. And I got really bold. At one point, I set the goal to book my biggest commercial yet, which when you work in commercial acting, you want to get a national commercial. That's a commercial that airs across the US on network television. And so usually that's like a car commercial or insurance commercial or pharmaceutical. So I was holding that vision, and then finally it happened. I booked, well, this is actually a Target commercial, but which was also a big commercial, but my biggest, I actually sent a newsletter on it today, was for Esurance commercial. This commercial was the easiest booking I ever had. Basically, they just booked me off tape, which is completely rare. Usually there's like a callback and you have to meet the director and client approval and all of this. And they booked me from the first call. And then the job was so easy. They had me sit on a bed on a laptop and just do a little smirk. And that was it. And like, oh my gosh, this is insane. Well, then I started to get checks in the mail. And even though I had a feeling that this was going to air nationwide, I didn't realize how much it was going to air. So for a union commercial, this is too much info, but just that you get context. Basically, anytime it airs, you get paid. There was a time where I got from my agent, an envelope that was like this thick of checks. And you would think that I would be so happy and I would feel so secure financially because finally I accomplished my goal where with one commercial, I made $100,000. But instead what happened is that I was so scared, literally scared. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, this makes zero sense. And luckily at the time I was working with a coach that does a lot of the work that I do today. And I realized that even though I accomplished my goal, my nervous system and my subconscious programming was not aligned and didn't feel safe receiving and holding this goal. Because my programming was, if you have a lot of money, you're a bad person. And then a deeper belief for me around that was, I'm going to lose my mom's love because she's telling me that she doesn't like rich people. And so that was such a breakthrough for me, like realizing, wow, even when you accomplish your goals, doesn't mean that you're going to feel great. It doesn't mean that your problems are solved. So I'm so grateful that I had 15 years of experience working as an actor in LA, where by the end I ended up working in over 100 commercials. And it really just invited me to look at my money stories. Because when you're an actor, there's so much income insecurity. It's up and down. You never know when you're going to get your next paycheck. And so I really had to work on feeling safe no matter how much money I have. And then when I did get it, feeling confident that I can handle it and manage it. And this is actually what got me into being an entrepreneur. So after acting, I got to the point where it just didn't really resonate with me and my values, and I went hard on my own healing journey. So then 10 years ago, I decided to guide soulful entrepreneurs and high achievers like yourself to do the work that I had been doing, breaking through those limitations, identifying what was holding us back from accomplishing our goals, healing that, rewriting that so that you can step into this beautiful life that you deeply desire. So this is another big milestone for me where in 2019, I manifested, I had set the intention that I wanted to have a feature on the work that I was doing. And to my surprise, I ended up being on the cover of the LA Times for the weekend edition, and it just blew away. I was on Facebook this morning pulling some images for old commercials, and I came across this video, and It was me like seeing it for the first time and just remembering like, wow, it took so much work to get to this point. And there was just a deep feeling of love towards my younger self for all of those years that I struggled but didn't give up and knew that there was something more, that I desired more and that it was for me, even though in my upbringing I was told that it wasn't for me. And so I love sharing this because it doesn't matter what background you come from, how much access or money you have available to you, you can create miracles when you do the inner work to receive it and to feel safe accomplishing it, and then to take action as well. So some of you at the beginning were sharing with me what your biggest money block is. Some of you shared, money hates me, I'm not in control, it takes away comfort, constant worrying, I'm making a lot less money now than I have been. And what I have found at the core with so many people that I work with is this belief that it is hard to make money. I mean, it sure was true for me, growing up, because that's what my parents kept telling me. And that's what I was seeing in them. They had multiple jobs that they were working at the same time. And yet it still wasn't enough. So I grew up witnessing like, oh my gosh, money is scarce. It's so hard to save enough for an emergency or for something more besides necessities. And so what that happens and how I saw in my parents is that they had to work so much harder, yet there was never enough. Being stuck in a cycle of struggle and burnout and then undercharging. So when I started as an entrepreneur, definitely struggled with this. And thinking of my parents as well, my mom, she had her own daycare business. And I remember her, she had a ton of kids, she over-delivered. And then at the end of the day, she always complained that she wasn't making enough because she was afraid to charge, even to cover the costs, because she would feed them and again, just go above and beyond, right? So that's a common thing that happens when one is in this place of scarcity with money. You also tend to become afraid of making financial risks. And so if you have a career at a company, you might feel shy about putting yourself up for the promotion or negotiating a salary, higher salary during the interview for the next job. This belief creates a lot of avoidance, self-sabotage, and resistance because it is hardwired in our brain that it is hard to receive money and to make money. Your brain is constantly going to give you examples that that is true. Instead of being in a place of being open to seeing a different reality, I always ask my clients, okay, so if you currently think that that is true, and that's currently what you're experiencing, what else could be true? So that's the reframing work that we start to do. Because if not, then you stay in the same situation, playing small, struggling, maybe even when opportunities come to you, you ignore them or you don't go after them because, again, there's a part of you that feels like I'm not deserving or I'm not ready. The imposter syndrome comes up. And so we're in the same financial situation. So some of the thoughts, how this block might show up in your life is people won't pay me that much. My money always disappears as fast as it comes. Like, I don't know where it goes. Again, that I have to work harder to make more. And so with that, some of the feelings are feeling afraid of charging or asking for a raise, feeling anxious about your finances or overwhelmed, frustrated that no matter what you do, that money isn't coming your way. And that can also lead to comparison, right? Maybe if you do have your own business, you compare yourself with others doing similar work and you're like, wait a minute, why is it that they're making more money when they have less experience? Maybe they don't even have the same education. Maybe they don't even get the same results that you're able to get your clients' results. Yet here they are bragging that they just made $500,000, $1 million, whatever it is, right? And that feeling of just like frustration, maybe even anger. And so the action that tends to follow, or inaction, is that we stay in the same situation, whether it's that toxic job that we hate, again, like being overworked, underpaid. We avoid looking at our checking account. We avoid investing. We don't say yes when opportunities come to us. And we're holding back. Maybe we're looking to launch a side hustle or a business, and we just stay in the idea. We never actually take action. So what we have to do is we have to rewrite our money story. And it's not just telling yourself, okay, now I'm going to believe that I am deserving of money. Because as soon as you say that new affirmation, your unconscious mind and your body is going to reject it. That inner critical voice is going to tell you, what are you talking about? No, you're not. So there's healing work to do. And it does start from shifting from the scarcity into more of an abundant way. We're looking right now at your life like, okay, what am I grateful for? What do I have today that I can view as abundance? And then the nervous system regulation, so that it is safe for you to receive that, receive the money, receive the promotion, to take that risk of going on your own. And then we also have to change the way that we think, change our beliefs and how we view money, so that we're not thinking that money hates us, so that we're not thinking that money's hard, so that we're able to view it as just a tool and a form of energy. And if we want more of it, then our energy has to match it. I want to share with you my client, Lucy. She's like the perfect example of how a money block is going to stop you from making money. So when I met her a year ago, she joined my Dream Bigger Mastermind last February. And we've been working together consistently since then. But she's a body worker, a massage therapist, and she was struggling financially, barely making ends meet. Physically, her body was hurting because she was working so much, scraping by, burnt out. And she was at the point where she didn't know if she was going to be able to continue. Like, she thought, maybe I'm going to have to go get a 9-to-5 job and just give up on my dream on being my own boss. What I noticed was when I started to give her suggestions on strategies and just like practical business things that she could change to start to bring in more money, there was a lot of resistance. She was shutting down. So then I had to ask her, like, all right, so what is this fear about raising your prices? Like, what do you think is going to happen? First of all, she was afraid that she was going to lose the little clients she had and that they wouldn't be able to pay her if she raised her prices. But even though she wanted to make more money, being a massage therapist and a healer, there is a bigger seated belief where she didn't feel deserving of making more money or making a lot of money. And so I helped her identify that this isn't her belief. This is an inherited belief. This is something that she heard her grandmother constantly say. This is something that her mother said to her. And so now she was hearing it for herself. And anytime she was getting ready to take an action, that voice would stop her. And so I had her reflect. All right, so if you're not deserving of more money, then who is? Who is worthy of more money? And she sat with it for a week between our calls. And when she came back, she's like, well, I mean, that's everyone is. Like, now I'm realizing like how silly that is. But again, it's so deeply ingrained that it was hard for her to get out of it. So we continued to rewrite her money story so that she was starting to feel more confident and felt safer, changing her pricing, increasing her pricing. And then I also helped her with like marketing and strategy to attract more clients. And 2 months in being in Dream Bigger Mastermind, the first 2 months that we're in it, we do this deep healing work. She went from making $500 weeks as a massage therapist to her first $8,000 week. She was blown away. This is the most money she had ever made as an adult, even when she had a 9-to-5 job. And she's like, whoa, like, I can't believe that that was the missing piece. So again, before she was burnt out, avoiding raising her prices and just doubting if she could make it. And after using my framework, she became confident. She was working less and making more. And she had a wait list now in her business. So a year to the date, Lucy, who's currently in my mastermind right now, her new goal is to make $100,000 as a massage therapist. A year ago, that wasn't even anywhere in her energy, in her mind. She never thought that was possible. But even with this goal, I'm helping her change the programming because consciously she wants it. And then when I asked her unconscious mind how believable and deserving she felt of that, she's like, no, my unconscious mind is saying, you're crazy. That's never going to happen. So every time we reach a new goal, or we set a new goal, or we're seeking any type of change that feels like a stretch, we got to do that other work, that healing work, which is this work. So I use with my clients this 3-step framework that I want you to use as you're uncovering like what your money blocks are and starting to reframe it. So step 1 is the awareness. So that is identifying the block, right? Like what is keeping you stuck? What is the fear and why? Then we got to do the healing work. So that's the actualization where we're reprogramming, we're regulating our nervous system, we're changing how we view about things. And then the achievement part is actually taking the steps required to achieve that goal. But similar to the example that I gave when I made my first 100K from that commercial, it's also helping yourself from a nervous system where you feel safe to hold it so that you don't achieve the goal and then you do something to like have it disappear. I shared it 2 days ago about the stats with people when they win the jackpot. 70% of people who win the lottery end up being worse off financially than when they started. That was shocking to me when I saw those stats, but not surprising. 70%, they either go bankrupt or they say that their mental health suffers because they're so anxious and stressed. They have people coming at them or there's a fear of that. And then they just don't know how to manage it. So the missing piece was that they didn't upgrade their beliefs and their nervous system regulation to hold that jackpot. That's a very obvious example of what happens if you don't do this work. So let's break it down for you. And feel free, as I'm talking about this, for you to write it down and identify like these parts for your own money story. So what is holding you back from making more money? What are those beliefs? Write it down. What's the pattern that you're seeing? Do you spend when you're feeling anxious? Do you avoid looking at your checking account? Like, what is going on? And then when you're thinking about your new financial goal, like, it's important to also have your why, because things are going to get hard sometimes. You're going to come across challenges. So what's going to get you back on track? It has to be a strong why that's going to get you motivated. And then oftentimes on our own, we're able to identify like what the surface level fears are and what these blocks, but is there something deeper? Is there like a deeper core? So the example of with my mom about her always saying like people who are wealthy are bad people and just seeing like her disgust for them. The deeper belief for me then became, if I become wealthy, my mom is not going to love me. She's going to hate me the same way that she is expressing hate towards wealthy people right now. That was really deep inner child healing work that I had to do to get to this point. So one of the benefits, if any of you choose to work with me, is that I do have a clairvoyant gift and clairaudient. When I'm holding space for people, not only am I actively listening to the words that they're saying, but I'm connected with your energy. And so oftentimes when they're speaking, I'm like, okay, I really feel like this, let's just say I'm making a suggestion, like okay, I think that you should do a group program, given that you have this financial goal. Like, I think you should do a group program, price it at this point, breaking it down. And then resistance. Like, I don't know, I don't want to. Maybe I should just stick to what I'm doing. I'm thinking of a specific client. What I picked up on was that her inner teenage self was not wanting to hear what I had to say. She wanted to do it on her own. And then the deeper fear of immediately just throwing a tantrum and saying no was that she didn't want to feel the rejection that she had felt when she was younger, when she was trying to do something new. So you see how past experiences still influence our current reality and create our reality? So this is one of the benefits where you don't have to spend years in therapy identifying this root cause. I'm able to help you with my clairvoyant gifts. Like, what is the biggest, deepest block? And then help you transmute that and reframe it so that your younger selves feel safe and start to believe a different way of viewing things. Ada is the perfect example for this. So she's a sound healer, and she also does Reiki and breath work. And she joined Mastermind a couple years ago. And again, like, I would give her suggestions on what to do. She even had clients emailing her, reaching out to work with her, and she wouldn't respond. Meanwhile, her business was not a business. It was just a hobby. She had 2 part-time jobs that were paying her bills, and she hated them. And so in the awareness part, we were able to identify the part of her that's self-sabotaging and avoiding even these opportunities coming her way was her inner child. When she was a child, she was bullied really severely in school. And so being in front of strangers and speaking using her voice, being a leader was terrifying for her inner child. Her nervous system was like, nope, we are not going to go in front of people we don't know. And so being visible was rejected. And there was a fear of criticism. There was also like success felt unsafe. And so we had to do the inner child healing. We had to do that somatic healing so that her inner child was on board with what she wanted to do now. We had to reprogram her beliefs around success and her self-worth so that she can now step into being a confident leader. And so in 2 months, she landed a dream collab with Selena Gomez's Rare Beauty. Now, she got this opportunity because I have a lot of people that constantly come to me and ask for referrals and recommendations. I am always someone who shares my resources. Like, I do everything I can to help you succeed, including giving you, the opportunity or recommending you to work with a celebrity brand. So that was such a huge boost for her confidence. But guess what? Even when I offered it to her, when I told her, hey, this Rare Beauty is asking for a sound healer and I want to recommend you, she was shutting down. She was feeling not ready. Her imposter syndrome, she's like, oh my gosh, no. So again, we had to move the energy for her to reply to that email and say, yes, I'm available. And I coached her to how much money to ask for and all of that. So every little step, because it's brand new, we needed to fine tune and do healing work. At the same time, she also was attracting the opportunity to facilitate at celebrity retreats. And so this hobby that she wanted to grow, but was so afraid, her inner child was so afraid to actually see it grow and make money from it, finally became her career. And she was able to quit her part-time jobs. All right, so step 2. So you identified your money block. You identified the deeper rooted pain point, fear. Now we got to heal it. So I like to use breath work as a tool to regulate and reprogram because you're able to drop into a deep meditation place while you're still conscious, semi-conscious, and we're able to feed it new information. And so this, doing the active breathing, also gets you out of survival mode. A lot of times, even though you may feel like, actually, you're fine, you'd be surprised. Our threshold for stress has just continued to increase. And so your nervous system still might be on high alert, even though you feel that you're okay. But if it is, it's not going to allow you to do something new because it's going to flag it as danger and it's going to want to predict what's going to happen, right? So it's going to prevent you from taking steps. So we got to get you out of survival mode as well. Then once that happens, we start to build the confidence. We start to take slow steps to show your brain a different way of doing things and to prove that, okay, you can have a new reality. You can have a new outcome. And George is someone who started with me really struggling with that imposter syndrome, with his nervous system being super dysregulated, with really high anxiety. And even though he was unhappy in his job and he wanted a new job, he was hesitant to put himself out there. First of all, he had guilt because he had been at that job, I think, for a year. And he's like, oh my gosh, what are people going to think? That I just hop around? I'm going to leave my team behind. Like maybe I should just push through. But meanwhile, like he would come home and he would just be upset and not want to go back. So we had to regulate his nervous system so that we can get him out of the scarcity and the fear and into action. We had to reprogram his beliefs to feel worthy and not feel like he had to stay behind for a job that wasn't even appreciating him. And help him feel confident that he had a lot to offer so that he can be open to new opportunities. So 2 weeks into being in Mastermind, he landed a new consulting client. So in addition to having a 9-to-5, he has his side business. And he was blown away. Like he couldn't believe it. He's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this already happened. And I told him like, it's also just like the power of making the decision that you're willing to change and being in the frequency of being open. George is someone who didn't believe in energy work, who didn't believe in manifesting, but he was curious. And 3 months into Mastermind, he got a brand new job at a new company where he ended up making 20% more than where he was at his old job. But about this new job that he got, he saw the listing for it on LinkedIn and didn't apply because he didn't think he was qualified for it. Nonetheless, the recruiter reached out and like he was nervous about it. Again, the imposter syndrome, the anxiety got activated and triggered. And so we helped him move through it. And he quickly moved through a series of interviews. And in the end, he was offered the job, but he was told, we're not going to negotiate a salary. Basically, this is our limit. Either take this or we also have another candidate where we're going to be promoting in-house. So that's your option. And he was like, yeah, no worries. Like I actually believe in promoting in-house. So if that's what feels best for you guys, I totally understand. The salary you're offering me is not enough. Like this is what I'm seeking to get. And if you can't meet it, totally fine. So again, energetically, he was unattached, right? He knew his worth, he was confident, and then he let it go. And they came back and they gave him the salary that he wanted, even though originally they had said, no, we don't have more money to give you. George, had he not been in Mastermind and done the healing work to get to this point, wouldn't have negotiated when he was told there's no more money to be had. Probably would have been really nervous at the interviews because he wasn't feeling confident and perhaps wouldn't have gotten to the end. So again, I wanted to share really clear examples of how doing the deep healing work, the awareness, the actualization is so important to changing your current financial situation. And then the fun project that he launched, he had an idea for 5 years to launch a blog for men's mental health. And so while in Mastermind, he finally launched it called Hombres on the Mend. And I still work with George one-on-one. And so now he has the plan to launch a podcast for it. And then he wants to make more money now. So he's feeling good at this level. And now he's like, what's the next income goal? And so he needs to figure out if that means, again, going to a new job. And again, the thoughts of like, oh my gosh, if it's only been a year, like, or not even a year, I think it's been 8 months at this job. Am I really going to put myself out there and start looking for a new job? And I'm like, yeah, if that's what you want, like, let's go for it. Let's move the energy, feel safe doing it, not worrying about what people are going to think if they see that, and go for your goal. All right, so step 3. Do you know what steps you have to take to achieve that financial goal? So that's what we got to do, right? Yes, I'm all about manifesting. I'm all about like energy and setting intentions, but I also take the actions necessary to call that in. And so a lot of times that's going to require that you create a new habit. Right now, you have the reality that you have because of the habits that you have, because of the limitations or the mindset that you have. So if today you're saying, okay, my life is all right, or maybe it's not, I really need things to change, then we gotta do like a makeover, right? And it takes consistency to create a new habit. Because again, your mind is gonna tell you, I'm too tired, I don't have money for that. Maybe it's too late, there's too much competition. So there's gonna be a lot of mind drama that we have to overcome in order to have the consistency in taking these steps. And the very last piece, I can't like reinforce it enough. You have to increase your capacity to receive your new goal and to hold a success. So if you want to be a millionaire and you're really far away from that, you got to do the work to incrementally feel safe holding it. Because if not, I mean, maybe you even have an experience, a real life example of you get a bonus, but then your car breaks down. Or if you're a freelancer, like you get a client and then a medical emergency happens, right? Your bank account goes down to where unconsciously you feel safe. And so little by little, we have to increase that capacity. So Irma, we worked on basically the last part where when she joined Mastermind, she was at the same job for 15 years at an administrative role and she hated it. She had outgrown it a long time ago, but she just felt stuck. She didn't know how to move. And then also at this point, she felt really insecure. She's like, I've been out of the job market for 15 years. Like, I don't even know how to interview. How do resumes look like these days? And so we helped her identify like what skills she has from this job that maybe could translate to a new position. And I even planted the seed. I'm like, have you ever thought about being your own boss? Because I think so many of the skills that you have in administration, like you could be an assistant, a virtual assistant, and then decide your own hours. And so when I said that to her, she was like, oh my gosh, I've never thought about that, but I don't know if I can be my own boss. Like, do I even have that skill to do? And so we worked on her confidence and for her to feel safe, starting to promote her services. And within 3 months of this idea, she had a sold out virtual assistant business where she was helping social entrepreneurs. And that helped her transition out of her toxic job. The cool thing is that because she was feeling so confident and self-assured and regulated, not only did she sell out her own soulful business, but then she also manifested a 9-to-5 job in an industry that she's never worked in, finance actually, still in that like executive assistant role, but with bosses that were so supportive. And so the way that she showed up to that interview was like, yeah, I'm going to have to learn a lot, but I'm willing to learn. And I also am bringing so much experience. Like she showed up radiating with confidence and also not needing the job, which had them offer her the job. And so she's now doing both and she's loving it. We're actually talking about, because she rejoined Mastermind in the fall. And so we're talking about bringing in even more clients for her side business. All right, y'all. So now I want you to accomplish your financial goals in the next 6 months. And I want to help you do that in my Dream Bigger Mastermind, where it's not just coaching, as you're seeing, like we do the deep healing work as well. So I really want you to overcome your money blocks. I want you to make more money. I want you to achieve your biggest goals, even if it's not money. I have a lot of people who join who have personal goals of putting out that project that they've been thinking of or working on themselves, their health, their healing. I want you to finally get those results that you've been telling yourself that you want, but year after year, you keep just having the same reality. More than anything, I mean, the world is insane right now. It feels like every time I turn on the news, which I try to limit, it's like the world is falling apart and it feels really scary and overwhelming. One of the reasons, not only why I decided to change careers from being an actor to being my own boss and having my own business, is that I wanted more autonomy for my financial well-being. I was tired of depending of a director or a client to decide whether or not I looked like the mom that they wanted in the commercial. I wanted to have more control over my finances. And right now, I see that for all of us, the invitation. Let's start that side business. Let's find another way to make more money, because we can't depend on our job, our government to support us, but we can help each other do that. And so when you join the Dream Bigger Mastermind, we're going to be using this framework. I break it down into, since it's 6 months, like 2 months for each framework, for each step. These are not pre-recorded, because I've been in plenty of programs where they have all these modules and videos, and I never finish them. Because I'm so committed and want you to get the results, we're going to do it live so that you're actually doing the healing work live. And then also I'm able to give you feedback in real time about what I think, what else is going on energetically or unconsciously. You're going to get personalized coaching. So even though it's a group program, I keep them small. I tend to have about 6 to 10 people per group, so that every call, everybody gets to speak and you get personal guidance. Again, I use my clairvoyant gift. And so the way that I do it in the sessions, in the group calls, is if I'm seeing that someone's having resistance, or maybe they're struggling, they're having a hard day, we'll drop immediately as a group into a healing meditation. There's a lot of common themes that come up with the group. So it's not just helping that one individual, it helps us all, right? And so I want you, by the end of the class, for you to come back and leave feeling empowered, feeling clear, knowing what you have to do next. So unlike other programs where they're like, okay, yeah, you need to go work on that with someone else. No, we do that work here too. We do the reprogramming of the nervous system, of the limiting beliefs, so that you can step out into the world feeling confident, so that you can have more ease and the abundance that you're craving. So this is a screenshot of also the support that you get outside of our one-on-one call or our group calls. I use Slack, where we can do coaching. So as you're seeing, like, people drop in anything that they want feedback on. So some people drop their sales copy. Someone was struggling with getting their business verified on Google. Other people who are looking for jobs, they'll drop their resume, or just anything that they need coaching with. We have accountability channel as well. So I have some clients, like, I have to follow up on her, where one of her personal goals is to get her house organized, and she's really struggling with that. So every other day, I'm dropping her a comment in the Slack. I'm like, hey, how's it going with that? Where are you at? Right? Just to keep the momentum going. We also have a channel for networking, for people to collaborate, share your wins. So there's a lot of activity that happens in our Slack channel as well. This is also really unique, where, again, I'm really hands-on. If you're open to receiving support, I'm going to give you 1,000% of my time and support. So if you need help with marketing, if you're a solo entrepreneur, I do copywriting for my clients, messaging, marketing strategies. I have a client right now in my mastermind who's looking to grow her Airbnb business. And so I created a social media strategy where I created like 20 posts for her, because that's a big block. She likes social media. She doesn't like, I don't know what to do. I feel so overwhelmed. I'm like, all right, let me make it easier for you. Here are 20 different posts that you can make. Obviously, customize it, make it more to what you're looking to sell, but this is a starting point. So I do that too. If you're looking to create a sales page, trying to come up with an offer, email marketing. I have 2 clients right now that every week they drop their Google Doc for the newsletter that they're going to send their clients. And I usually give them a rework so that you have like everything that you feel proud of, but also going back to the messaging. It takes practice. I have at this point 10 years of experience, plus my acting, where it wasn't just about acting, but I really learned about advertising and marketing. And I worked behind the scenes in casting, that has helped me so much as an entrepreneur, and that's knowledge and information that I want to share with you too. Again, if you're not a soulful entrepreneur, I'll look at your resume and give you feedback. It's been really cool that the last 3 cohorts, I've had someone that works in HR, and they've always been so generous where they're like, hey, I can look at your resume and give you feedback. So that's a lot of value that you're getting. And, everybody comes in with different goals. And so you all are going to have a different strategy that I give you and different healing exercises. But collectively, the whole goal is to, by the end of the 6 months, or if not sooner, to achieve your goal. The healing component of Mastermind, you have a whole portal. So I'm giving you as a bonus access for 1 year. Mastermind is 6 months, but I want you to continue using the tools after Mastermind to continue reinforcing the new beliefs and your new frequency so you can continue to manifest and achieve and hold the wealth. So you have a ton of meditations that you can listen to. I have live breathwork classes that you can attend. I also have about 100 breathwork classes in this portal. I have moon circles if you want to join in some manifestation magic every month. All of this is free. Not to mention, I bring in other experts. So a couple of weeks ago, I brought in a money coach for my Dream Bigger Mastermind clients. And we went over strategies on how to get rid of your credit card debt, because I know a lot of people are struggling with that as well. So again, all of this information, not to the point of overwhelming you, but really paying attention to what you need and what the group needs. And if I don't know how to do it, I'm bringing an expert to teach you. One of the most beautiful things about this program is the community support. I tend to attract amazing clients who are intelligent, who are ambitious. But a lot of times when we are on a healing journey and when we are wanting more in our life, our current friend group or our support group, maybe even our family, like my family, like they're not able to support me in my big dreams. I was always told, don't do that. Go get the 9-to-5 job. Why are you doing that? When are you going to get a real job? So it wasn't safe for me to share my goals and my desires with them. And it felt very lonely for so long. That was actually one of the reasons why 5 years ago I created this group program, because I know that I wanted a space where I could share my goals and my desires, where I wanted to be around other people that also wanted to get ahead and to have more in their life. And so this is the space for that, where we really encourage you and celebrate you. Again, we share our resources and knowledge with you. There's a lot of collaboration and there's the accountability. So I tend to attract a lot of soulful entrepreneurs. When I use the term soulful with entrepreneur, it implies that you are doing your soul's work. So it's something that you really love. It's something that's true. Like you want to help people. And so 2 years ago, I created this program called the Soulful Entrepreneur Mentorship, where it's 12 lessons to how to create a soulful business. I'm giving that for free in the next 48 hours if you apply for Dream Bigger Mastermind, because it's just additional support where I talk about like taxes, how to officially set up your business, how to attract your dream client, your client avatar, and so much more. I decided I'm not going to teach this program this year, but I didn't want it to go to waste. And so I'm giving it for you for free. Take advantage of it. It's worth $2,000 and you're going to learn so much more. So this is going to be really practical information. And then we can do custom, personalized coaching and strategies in the live call. So it's going to help you with pricing, with attracting clients, marketing, and overcoming imposter syndrome. So the investment for Dream Bigger Mastermind, which we're starting in 2 weeks, is $39.95. If you decide to pay in full, I also have a pay in full bonus where we can do a VIP virtual retreat. So that's 3 hours where you tell me what you want to focus on. Do you want to do deep healing? Do you want to do a business plan? Do you want to brainstorm? Whatever it is, we're going to focus. So that really allows you to jumpstart the healing and the progress and know exactly what you want to do during the 6 months of Mastermind. If paying in full isn't accessible to you, I want to make it super simple. So I'm offering 12 months of interest-free payments. So that makes it $333. This is such a low rate, guys. For as high touch as this program is, And the reason why I'm making it this accessible is because I really, as I mentioned, like my soul's purpose is to help empower people and help create more people create their dream life, to have more money, for good people to have more wealth, to have that financial stability, to accomplish their goals. Like, if you believe that we only live this one life, might as well make it your own. But it's not easy doing that when we come with all of these limiting beliefs, these past experiences that tell us it's not safe to be that person or to go after that. So that is the payment. Some questions that I tend to get asked a lot is, how do I know that this is going to be right for me? If you're someone who wants a change in your career, in your business, if you want to make more money, I'm going to help you have those breakthroughs to achieve the goal. What if I don't have a business yet? That's fine. We'll launch it here. We'll come up with a plan. We'll help your confidence. And almost anyone who joins and that's their goal, they launch it by the end of 6 weeks or 6 months. It's probably before that because, again, I work quick. And if you're like dragging, I'll check in. I'm like, what's going on? Why are we procrastinating? All right, we have 2 more months. We're going to launch it before the end of Mastermind, right? So if you're open to coaching, if you're open to, really taking the action, you're going to get the results that you want. The calls, I'm going to have 2 different groups, again, because I want them small. So either you're going to join the Tuesday group, which is in the morning, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, or Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Pacific time, or 6 p.m. Eastern. And if you're in the middle of the country, figure out the time change. But they're 90-minute calls. And we're going to start the first cohort Tuesday, February 25th, or Wednesday, February 26th. Who has been triggered when they saw the investment? Whose money wounds got triggered? So that's a big thing, right? Where our brain's like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. I don't have that right now. Like, what if it doesn't work? I've already done other programs and I haven't gotten results. Or I have a therapist. Why should I do this? If your goal is to recoup your investment to make more money, and again, if you're open to coaching, if you do the work, if you're consistent and you show up to the calls, you're going to make your money back. I have coached people when they've gone on sales calls with me, how they can make that $300, $333 a month so that they feel comfortable and not adding another cost or adding it to their credit card. But if they want the money in, that's what I did with Lucy. And as you saw, like right away, she doubled the investment. What's included? Weekly calls, personalized coaching, the done for you marketing, expert workshops where I'm going to bring in additional people to teach you tools, Slack support, and the community. And then for you, if you're like, wait, but I actually think I would want one-on-one support. I don't really want to do this in work, in a group program. I do offer an upgrade VIP support that if you join Mastermind and you still want to do private sessions with me once a month, you can have that for an additional $1,500. So this is a steal because normally if you just work with me one-on-one, it's $2,400 for 6 sessions. So if you do Mastermind and you want to do this, you get 6 sessions for $1,500. So the next step is for all of you, if this is resonating with you, to apply. I'm going to stop sharing. First of all, if anybody has any questions and you want me to answer, please let me know. But I'm also going to drop the application. I'm going to drop, if you're like, okay, this sounds interesting, but I don't know, Anna, you gave me a lot of info. I'm feeling a little activated right now. I need to sit with it, but can I talk to you? Yes, we can also talk. So I'm dropping the link there to book a call as well. Oh, yay, I'm seeing other friendly faces. Hey, Brian, good to see you. Sue is she's doing her 2nd round of Mastermind. We're in the process. Sue, would you like to share like what your experience has been? We're in the process of launching her side business, which I'm so excited about. Who else? Hi, Lily. Good to see you. You can unmute yourself, Sue. Hi.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm using my phone.
I'm good.
Yeah. So, yes, I'm super triggered by money. I'm extremely triggered by anything with money. And I'm really getting a lot of help with becoming more comfortable with it, with charging more for any side jobs that I do. I have a job right now that I can't stand. It's retail 9 to 5. So I want to start a plant sitting business on the side. I'm really excited about it. And I never even thought that I could do this. I've been doing it for a few years now and just indoor plant sitting, not any outdoor gardening work. And I never thought that I could do this as a side business. And Anna's helping me realize that it's a possibility. So I'm pretty excited about it. So I would love to go to work and like what I'm doing instead of hating it. So
I love it, Sue. I'm so proud of you. There's been so much growth. We actually did a podcast conversation, I think it was last year around that, where it's not just about like making more money, but it's also advocating for
Yeah.
yourself, right? Because that's a big thing that people really struggle with. And then you just accept what's given to you. And again, that creates the same cycles. But in order for you to do that, there probably needs to be some inner child healing for that part of you to feel safe, to speak up and use your voice. Rihanna, oh my gosh, so good to see you. She was like one of my first mastermind clients back in the day when it was only like 2 months. And since then, I have evolved it to really be a container where there's enough time to do the healing work, to take the action, and then to achieve your goals. Hi, love. So good seeing you. All right, friends. If we don't have any more questions, or if you're feeling shy, reach out, book a call, or send me an email, send me a DM. And I hope to see you soon, and hopefully in the next round of Mastermind. Yeah, you're welcome, Brian. All right, everyone, have a good evening. Bye, everyone.
I hope you found this masterclass, Break Through Your Money Blocks, helpful, and that you're feeling more hopeful of what else might be possible for you too. And I would love to support you on your journey as you're creating and stepping into a life that's more abundant, more aligned with your true self. Enrollment for Dream Bigger Mastermind is open. We are starting in a couple of weeks, so make sure you get your application in. If you have additional questions, book a call with me and we can talk about your goals, and I can let you know if you're a right candidate for it or not. I might tell you maybe this other program would be better for you. But don't let another year go by. Things are so uncertain right now, and this is really the invitation, I believe, for us to create and take care of ourselves, create a life for us, do everything we can to bring in as much abundance and money, and take care of ourselves, like heal that inner part so we can show up feeling more confident and safer to handle whatever life throws at us. All right, friend, wishing you a beautiful day, and we'll be back next week. Bye.